Welcome to the Living in Chicagoland podcast, where we take a deep dive into a Chicago neighborhood or suburb every week, giving you the pros and cons of each area so you can make informed decisions when looking to buy or sell real estate. I'm your host, Tim Winfrey Jr. This week, we are going to be talking about McKinley Park. I am here with Jim Henkes with At Properties. Thank you so much for joining us, Jim. Let's just kick it off with a brief summary of your career and why you were the go-to agent in McKinley Park.
Okay, thanks for having me, Tim. So my whole career I've spent in sales. Primarily, my two main positions were actually in the baking industry. I sold bakery ingredients for a local company for many years. And then from that, I became a national sales manager selling advertising and marketing programs to bakery equipment and ingredient manufacturers across the country. So it brought me into the advertising and marketing world and digital advertising and print advertising, which I've used successfully now that I'm in the real estate industry.
Perfect. Yeah, I could see those skill sets transferring over really well, actually, because marketing as a concept is simply marketing, right? So I mean, once you understand the basics, you could really do it in any field. It's kind of like sales too, right? Once you figure out sales, you could do it in any industry. You just have to learn what you're selling, right?
Yep.
Cool, man. So let's jump right into it, Jim. What is your favorite thing about McKinley Park?
My favorite thing, and it's everyone's favorite thing, is the park itself. McKinley Park is a 71-acre oasis in the city, is what it's called. It's a huge park. It's named after William McKinley. He was our 25th president, and he was assassinated in 1901. And McKinley Park was built or developed. It was the first park in the country, and actually it became a park. It became the blueprint for the Chicago Park District for the parks that they get created after that time. So it's the park itself.
That makes a lot of sense, and that's actually a really cool story. I didn't know that. So thank you for the history. I believe McKinley was right before Roosevelt, right?
I am not sure. I believe so.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. I think McKinley got murdered, and Teddy just kind of, he just kind of rolled in there. If I remember correctly, I'm not a historian, so let's just jump to the next topic. So what kind of entertainment options are available in the McKinley Park area?
Well, McKinley Park is great for families with kids. That's the majority of the entertainment is family and kid centric. So there's a brand new, it's about 2 years old, a community play garden that is just spectacular. Somebody took a vacant lot and just turned it into a creative area where kids can explore and play. There's also the McKinley Park itself that has numerous activities for kids. And in the summer, they have their 6-week day camp, which actually I attended many, many years ago. So that's a neighborhood favorite. There's Piano in the Parks is happening right now. There's a piano in the park, and you can just go. There's 3 of them, actually, and you can just go and play on the piano. There's movie night in the park. There's the Midnight Circus is another thing for kids. So it's mainly, the entertainment is mainly based around families. There is not much for those who like the nightlife.
Okay. Yeah, that makes total sense. I mean, that makes a lot of sense with the large park, like you just mentioned, and it sounds like a lot of the entertainment options are associated with the park. So it makes sense that would be a family focus area and probably not something for, a young swinger. So I totally get where you're going there. So what are the best places for food in McKinley Park, Jim?
So hopefully you enjoy Mexican food, because that is the the best options in McKinley Park. So my favorite is Chile Toriado, and I don't probably don't say that pronounce it correctly, but Chile Toriado is the owner Jaime. He he's born and raised in McKinley Park. He and his brother worked under Rick Bayless, and so they have been professionally trained. His brother opened up Five Rabanitas in Pilsen, which is a very excellent restaurant, and now Jaime opened Chile Toriado. So that's the number one Mexican restaurant. There's also La Palapa, which is really taken off, and it's Mexican seafood, and people from all over the city and all over the state and parts of the country have come to McKinley Park for that restaurant. Other than that, there's for sweets, there's Christopher's, which they make the world's best tres leches cake, and they wholesale that cake to many of the fine dining restaurants in Chicago. So if you're out somewhere eating at tres leches, likely it's from Christopher's. And then there's a couple of mainstays that have been open at least 50 years that I know of, and that would be the Greek restaurants. That's Huck Finn, and the other one would be Archview. That's where you can find people eating breakfast, lunch, dinner, or you'll see gentlemen sitting there in the window drinking coffee all night long, just talking, and they have been there a long time. And then other than that, there's a few other restaurants here and there, but nothing really to get excited about.
Makes sense. Well, I mean, it sounds like it has an awesome Mexican restaurant scene, which I'll have to check out. My wife is Mexican. I think she'll like that. We often go to the Little Village for there, so you just gave me a new place to check out, so I appreciate that. Cool. So what are the schools like in McKinley Park, Jim?
Well, the interesting thing about McKinley Park is that there are no high schools. So the majority of the students go. It's the Chicago Public Schools for before they get to high school, but recently in the past few years, some charter schools have opened up where many residents go to. And then I also see that when I walk around the neighborhood, especially now with the graduation, I see graduation signs from all over. So people that live in residence McKinley Park, they go to schools all over the city. Some far away, and it's just the education is important, and parents are willing to do whatever to get their kids to what they feel are the best schools.
That makes sense. And there are definitely tons of charter options in the city. So as long as that's something somebody's looking for, it looks like it could be a good spot for them in McKinley Park. Okay, Jim. So what is the market outlook, do you think, for McKinley Park? Obviously, it's tough to predict right now. So, I mean, we'll just say that with a grain of salt. But what do you think it looks like at the moment?
Well, it's as I keep track of statistics and things. So for about 6 months, we were sitting on about 1 month's inventory. That was the supply. So it ticked up a little bit. Right now, we're at about 2.5 months supply, which is still an extreme seller's market. A single-family home went on the market down 4 doors from my parents, and there were over 50 people came to the open house, and there were 10 offers, and it was not. It was. I did not think the home was worth what they were asking, but they're getting it, and it's helping me on the 2 other listings that I'm getting on that block. So it's the there's plenty of buyers, and many of the buyers are Asian, and because Chinatown has become so pricey, the prices in Bridgeport are way up. So McKinley Park is next west of Bridgeport, but importantly, it's near the Orange Line and the CTA that can get people down to Chinatown, where many of them work in the restaurants, or downtown to the Loop, the financial district. So there's no lack of buyers looking for homes in McKinley Park. I feel sorry for the buyers because it's difficult to be the one with the winning bid when you're competing with sometimes cash offers.
Yeah, basically the last 2 years has been a tough run for buyers. Unfortunately, like you mentioned, almost the whole Chicago market was at 1 month's inventory, I feel like, for most of the past 2 years. And yeah, 2.5 months is still a raging seller's market, but I mean, it's nice to see it balance out a little bit, I would think. That's a good benefit for the buyers for sure. Um, so, Jim, why do you think McKinley Park is a great place to live?
There's many reasons. The park that I mentioned, and that is in terms of just plain having things to do. If when I can visually in my head walk through the park from one side to the other, and there's a butterfly sanctuary. There's a huge garden. There's a community garden where people can rent spaces. There's bird watching. There's baseball diamonds. There's a artificial soccer field. There's tennis courts. There's a lagoon. There's one of the first dog parks on the south side of Chicago was recently opened, I think a year ago. There's, I think I mentioned tennis courts. There's an ice hockey rink, which is now roller hockey in the summer. There's softball diamonds, a football field. Inside, there's gymnastics, indoor basketball, there's outdoor basketball. It's just, you go there on a Saturday morning at 10 o'clock and there's at least 150 or more people in the park. So it's very active. It's a very active park, things to do. And the location. McKinley Park, there is a sign on 36th and Honorary. It is the geographic center of Chicago. So we can get anywhere quickly. We're minutes from Pilsen. We're minutes from Little Italy, minutes from Bridgeport, 4 miles from the Loop, 4 miles from the West Loop. We're 3 miles from the lakefront. So, and there's with I-55 right there, and 90-94 not too far. 290 is not far, and with all the public transportation, it's a great place to live, and there's plenty to do.
I just wanted to thank you so much for your time. Obviously, you have shown that you are the agent to talk to about McKinley Park. Can you please let our audience know the best way to get in touch with you if they're looking to buy or sell in that area?
Okay, my phone number is 312-752-8329. Again, 312-752-8329. My email is jimhankes at adproperties.com. That's JIMHANKES at adproperties.com. You can find me on my Facebook page, Restaurants and Real Estate, where we talk restaurants and we talk real estate. And let's see. So that's my phone number, my address, or my email address, and my Facebook. And that's it.
Absolutely amazing stuff. Anybody listening, all that information will be in the show notes. So if you're looking in the McKinley Park area, you will have easy access to Jim Henkes here, who is obviously a wealth of information on the area. So everybody listening, thank you so much for tuning in. That's it for this week. We went over McKinley Park, and now you know who to talk to if you're looking to buy or sell in that area. We'll see you next week. Take care.